A little while ago, I did a stream called the Fable SMP Potion System because I have a lot of brain rot about Minecraft potions and how they work scientifically. So I did a stream explaining to you guys my really well-developed process of how potions are made. And then a little bit later, we hit a sub goal for me to do another one because a lot more has happened in the Fable SMP potion words, in the Fable SMP potion world, that I can talk about. So yeah, a very funky time because if you guys haven't seen, this is Character Sherbert's potion notebook. I'm sure you guys have seen this. I use it as a prop in TikToks and in CMVs and all of that. And my goal is to fill this book on every page about stuff that Character Sherbert would write down or is researching or about the world of Fable. And I call it the potion notebook because 90% of the book is about potions. But actually, I'd say about 70% of the book is about potions. The other 30% is actually about other stuff that's happening to Sherbert. So there's stuff on the whack, there's stuff on the rave room, there's stuff on eyes, there's stuff on like Fable being Sherbert's dad. And you guys only saw it. You guys, when we last did this, I showed you guys up until this page, and we did this page. There is now, it now goes, that's where you guys were. I was on it. I have this much more of the book to show you. So you guys have seen this side, and all of this is new stuff I've written in the past 6-ish months. So I get to show you guys. I have stuff on the skulk in here. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna go through and kind of fancy up some of the pages, color some of the pictures, and honestly just talk about kind of the science behind the logistics of Fable, because I am a little nerd and decided that everything that happens to Sherbert, I wanted to have like a scientific reason for it, because we're very science-based on Fable. There's a lot of research and weird things. So yeah, but there's some stuff that we need to like outline and color, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to move my camera here in a second. But yeah, I shall let's go on the arc of me aggressively trying to move this, shall we? This is gonna be interesting, chat. Ready? I'm gonna grab you. Prepare to be yoinked. All right? Prepare to be absolutely yoinked. Chatters. Okay. I'm sorry, chatters. Sorry to do this to you. Hello. What are you doing up there? Welcome to my room tour, desk tour, little nerd. All right, here we go. Now here comes the ride of me trying to make this work. Starting it off, to start from the beginning, chat. To start from the beginning, I'm gonna kind of go through all the pages in the book first, and then we'll go in depth. Where did I get the book? It came off of Amazon. I looked up purple and gold notebooks, and it got me this guy, which is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you, Chaotic Good, for the 11 months. You guys get to see. You get no face cam today, sadly, but you do get hand cam. Ooh. Oh, you guys can look at my rings now. Look at my rings. These ones spin. This one spins. Got my gay one. Got two over here. Fingies. Okay. I'm sorry. So first off, the book is locked. It is locked, and if I scramble the code here, you cannot get it open. It's got a little thing you can put a little pen in there, but the code, I'll tell you, it's just a little secret. The code is 56. So 056. 056 and click. It opens because I'm a little nerd and it's good. Streamer has hands. I do. Real. So right off the bat, first thing you get is a list of whack. This is genuinely a word-for-word copy of the Season 1 and Season 2 whack book. And we actually have to go finish, because this isn't updated to right now. We're only on 104, and I think the in-game one is at 120-something. One sec, chat. I'm actually going to zoom myself in a little. There you go. But this is all of the things that have changed. This is a word-for-word whack copy, and then you hit Alchemical Notes, which is the one really pretty page in the notebook. Nothing else is this pretty. But yeah, this is where Alchemical Notes start. So we have the whack section, which is going to fill up very soon. But once you open up here, start right off. You get brewing stands and blaze powder. I've already explained this in the last potion book video, so I'm not going to go over it crazy on like how the brewing stand works and what blaze powder is, but a good general rule of thumb, when we get to ingredient pages, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, it will often have the thing, a little diagram of the thing, a little description, and then if there's a potion, we'll have a little brackets that describe the potion, how to make it, what it does, what it tastes and smells like, and how it can be enhanced. And if it hasn't ever worked, there's a tiny bracket like this and something that says further research, which is other things I've tried to make it work, but it hasn't. Now, obviously, since Character Sherb would have written this page, they've now tested Amethyst. So I'm going to have to redo this entry later on and say, hey, this worked with Scoria. But we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there when we get there. Alright, so, to go back to the brewing stand. A lot of time, this is like the general kind of basis of potioning, and then we get into the main reagents, which are, I will often say reagents, just allow it to happen. I know it's not right. Which is kind of the basis of all alchemy. All alchemy starts off with base of water, or I guess something else, and then typically netherwort, and then there's other things that can enhance it. I personally really like my glowstone design. In particular, I really like how glowstone is like a nugget in my brain. But then we get into, without going crazy, into like the molecule bonding science that I talked about last time. Unless you guys want me to talk about that again. But I kind of have a half-science way of explaining how potions get made and like how bonds work. But you get the basis things. Should talk about it again? It's cool? Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. I actually did a diagram recently. Hold up. We'll get to all of this, chat. We'll get there. So this is a good. Actually, I'll come back to that. Okay. So, basically, the way that it works is water is the main binding agent for how things get magical effects. So water has an open bond, which basically means that, it's specifically when it gets heated up in like a brewing stand or with blaze powder, something can attach to it. And the kind of number one thing that you want to attach to water is netherwort. So netherwort goes in first. It attaches, and netherwort has a bunch of open bonds, which basically allow more things to get tacked on to one water molecule, which is almost chemistry. It's not really how it works in real life, but it's how magic chemistry works. So, netherwort gets added onto the water and opens up a bunch more ports for more things to get added. So other normal ingredients, like for example, glistening melon. Glistening melon can attach to the netherwort and give it the effect of instant healing, which is what that does. On top of that, you can also attach, for example, or specifically a melon, you can attach glowstone. And that will... what glowstone does is allows basically for a second melon to get on. So when you add glowstone, what it does is it attaches to the melon and allows for another melon, basically making it more potent and therefore more powerful. You get instant health 1 to instant health 2. Redstone strengthens the bond between, for example, let's say we're doing sugar. If it's speed, so the sugar gets attached on, redstone glues it together stronger, making it more stable and making it last longer. That's redstone. Gunpowder makes it volatile. It breaks the bond up a little bit so that when it gets heated up or shaken or thrown, it causes it to react and basically explode out of the bottle into a splash potion. And basically just becomes a lot more volatile. That's what gunpowder does. Milk, which is another one of the couple like big guys I'll talk about, adding milk into anything dissolves all bonds. So, for example, if you have a potion and something's not right, you could put milk in and it'll make the whole thing stable and apart and just water and melon in water, and it's not connected magically, I guess. That's the basis of it. And then I'll talk about fermented spider eyes when we get there. But that's the basis of alchemy and how that works. Glowstone duplicates the duplicate, redstone enhances the effects, and gunpowder explodes. Basically, yeah. As I talk with her hands, how I actually do too. I do it because you guys can't see my face, and I need to express emotion with my hands. But yeah, I go through kind of some of the other things that Sherbert has tried. Fermented spider eyes is a lot more on the magic side of my explanations versus the, you know, practical chemistry of the explanation. Fermented spider eye in this kind of twists the bond and corrupts it. Corrupt is the word I use. Basically causing it to have the opposite effect of whatever it would have. There's not a good science explanation for this. This one's magic. But yeah, these first little bit of pages are all ingredients that Sherbert has tried and either worked or haven't worked. But yeah, you get all kinds of different things that Sherbert has tried but not necessarily worked, or they did work. And this is what we all went and colored in last time. Oh, I'll talk about Dragon's Breath also, because Dragon's Breath's also one of the funky dudes. Adding Dragon's Breath basically breaks apart the water and turns it into a gas. So it can then go through the air and become an airborne effect versus a liquid effect. It just causes a change of state. That's how they would say it in science. It's a change of state. You're changing the matter type. But yeah, that's about where we got to last time. And then I kind of I'm going to go through kind of the rest of the pages in here because there's a lot to talk about. But we're going to start coloring here. This is where we're going to start. We're going to color in a couple of things we can talk about. So, first off, this talks about different kinds of blood and blood color being different depending on the realm that you originate from. Talks about Ray's eye specifically, and that kind of thing, and what happened when I put it in a potion. Also a little guide here for what the aura's colors correspond to what dimension. Then we get into specifically Jamie's. Sherbert did an experiment with Jamie where they took the flowers that grow on them and the 2 potions that came from that, along as the soul flower that Illyrion planted that cured Athena. There's a page on that. You then get stuff on corrupted potions, and specifically what happens with fermented spider eyes, and how netherwort grows, and what the difference is between it growing in sand or versus soil, and kind of the different types of netherwort that get grown based on the nutrients in the 2 of them. You get zombification, and how that works, and how regen and golden apples, why they work to cure it, and why they work on villagers but not people. This talks about different bottle shapes, and why they're used for specific things. So you get drinkable ones with gunpowder, which is a specific type of bottle that dissolves when it's splashed, so it doesn't, keep glass everywhere. Inhalation, which is one where it's just meant to uncork, and the syringes that we learned with from the tokens. Then you have other effects that Sherbert knows exists, but doesn't know how to put them in a potion, and have slowly kind of crossed them off as they've made other new potions. This is a quick list of effect and what they use to make it. Just a quick little diagram on that. Then you have Yellow Eye, Purple Eye, which kind of talks about Sherbert's thoughts on what has to do with the Yellow Eye versus the stuff that's in the Purple Eye and what they know about it, and how that is. So yeah. Then you get the first note that Sherbert found that's written in the funky language that Sherbert could not translate at the time, and this was theories on what letters could mean which we now have a dictionary for, which we'll get to later. This is the whack. This is a map of how much the moss has grown each time around their house, and kind of the distance it covered. So this is the house and the 4 towers and the farm, and how the moss went this far, then it got slightly bigger, then it got stitched out slightly that way, and these are the torch lines that Sherbert and Ray made. There we go. Yeah, chat, there's stuff on pages that is good lore hints, so I'll leave you with that. Then we get into some more ingredients that Sherbert tried. All of these basically didn't work, but it's kind of hinted that they might work in scoria. For each of these are all the different types of coral, different, more normal things, specific mushrooms, and how they are used. This is missing a bracket. Oop, why are you missing a bracket over there? You're also missing a bracket. Hello? There's a system to these things. These are all the different mushrooms. Then we get into the double brewing stand, which is Sherbert's kind of personal project that they've been trying to figure out on how to make more potions in less space with less ingredients. And this is the kind of finalized design that Sherbert landed on basically stacking 2 on top of each other and having a filtration system going down to the bottle below. And then kind of the diagram talking about how that worked. Then you also get all of the test types of things that Sherbert tried to before they found this final solution to it. But these are other shapes that they tried and didn't really work as well as they wanted them to. Then you get enchantment table language, and just kind of, can I put enchantments as potions? For example, mending is like regeneration for objects. Can I use experience to heal flesh? And this kind of thing. Fortune and looting might have something to do with luck. Protection's a form of resistance, but is different subsects of it, but I'm not able to make different subsections of resistance. Deconstructing Frostwalker might lead to cold resistance. Feather falling might be related to a phantom membrane. Talking about enchantments versus potions and how you might be able to get there. And fire protection versus fire resistance, and how the two are related. And also just enchantment table language. Alright, now we get into Skulk. This is Sherbert's page on the Skulk. And kind of, first off, the experience of how it reacts to sound, and what Athena's found, and what Ray's found, and a little diagram of the different kinds of what Skulk is, and then the 2 potions that Sherbert made with Ray in an attempt to cure Ray. It didn't really work, but made some new potions, so they're in here. This is, so I had an old potion notebook that I am now moving over here, so I'm treating this as if this is notes that Sherbert found of theirs from past resets. These are actually just old notes that I made in the old notebook that I wanted to tape in here, but quote-unquote, these are pages from past potion notebooks, from past resets that they've found. And kind of the same kind of thing of trying to make a double brewing stand and all of that kind of thing. Then you get the Quixis pages. We're on to the Quixis pages. This is a word-for-word copy of Quixis notes, which I have in-game. This is a little thing on the question wall, and how it got set up, and how the key works. This is a oh no. Then we get the language of the alphabet, which Sherbert has almost all of, and is able to decipher. So this is the original note that we wrote earlier in the book, fully translated, deciphered, descrambled, which you guys have seen. I did that in lore. Then you also get all of the other times that we've seen the Quixian language and their translations of what this is of Brian, or this to Charles, or the signs in the flip house, and then the whack book versus the whack with no K book, and kind of these are the 4 Quixian messages that we found in there, and attempting to translate them, but it not really working. Also talks about the specific aura color that was tied to each, of this being kind of teal cyan, this being purple, dark green, and light blue, and then all the auras being different colors, and what that could mean. Then you get into the question log, which I need to go through and actually set all of the answers that we got to all the questions, but these are all the questions that got asked to the question wall, and their responses. Then you get more reset notes that Sherbert found, and saw that there was something about biome water, and how water in different biomes can affect the properties of potions. So the next couple pages are graphs on different samples taken from different biomes. So for example, plains river water versus pond water, spruce being river water versus frozen water. You get like a swamp surface water versus the deepest parts of the swamp, kind of rated on 4 things, which is purity, solubility, potency, and hardness. Purity being, is it water or is there stuff in it? Solubility means, is it able to take on new ingredients? Potency is, does it have naturally more strengthening? And hardness, is it crisp? It changes the boiling point level of the water. For example, melted ice water or desert water is a lot more pure and clean. So these are all graphs of samples taken from different biomes, and kind of the 4 ratings of each of those. Then we hit the page on the rave room, which is a lovely diagram of what Sherbert remembers the rave room to look like, as well as notes on how times they've seen it, kind of a log of what doors or things they saw, and then hits Perix's alchemy notes, the book that Ray found, and kind of, okay, what is scoria? Here's the diagram that Ray drew for me, person for scale, how Perix made the mind medicine, and kind of an exact pull from her alchemy notes. And then I started working on the scoria, and why water and lava typically didn't work, and what scoria might do. And this is as far as we've gotten in the book so far. But I have a lot that I did. Like a lot that I did. I have a obsession, one might say. But that's the basis of it. We're gonna go through and kind of work on outlining and you know, coloring a little bit, and I'll talk more about some stuff. But yeah, this is my notebook. This is my very aggressive notebook. Do you guys want to set it in stone now? Because I honestly can't tell you. So this is one of the things that has bothered me about my potion explanations, is because I have never clarified what fire resistance and cold resistance does. Because what happened was, I had Athena come to me in lore and say, hey, can you make me a potion so that I can go in the cold? And I had Will come to me and said, can you make me a potion that I can go in the hot? And I said, oh, I don't have that, to both of them. Which is a problem, because fire resistance should be one of them, and cold resistance is the other. But I said I didn't have them to both of them, so I honestly don't know. I think cold resistance has to protect from cold and fire protection from hot. I think I agree. I think that fire protection would be what Will wants, and cold protection be what Athena wants. And we'll set that in stone. And don't think about what I've said in the past too hard, because I don't know. I don't know. You asked about scoria, go for it. I haven't gotten to like that page in the book, but I have a very good understanding of how scoria works. So go for it. This is my, like, ask your nerdy questions about the science that anyone does on Fable. Or specifically Sherbert, really. Scoria have more bonds like water. Like water has one, but the Scoria has more. I'll actually go to the page, because that's the one thing that I did. So this is, if you're looking at lava versus water. Water has an open bond. There's room for something to attach here, which is how that works. Lava is completely lock bonded. Lava itself does not allow things to catch onto it. The idea of Scoria is that it would break off one of the molecules of lava, adding something, which we figure out is snow. Adding something would cause one of the molecules to fully break off, leaving two open bonds for more things to catch on. Which, in theory, ingredients that work in water, like a golden carrot, for example. Golden carrots have one open bond. They'll tack on to the water right here and allow it to be, and allow it to go there. But other things, like, for example, coral or amethyst, have two bonds, where if they wanted to connect to water, they can't, because there's only one slot for them to get in. But with Scoria, in theory, it can connect in two places, allowing for more ingredients to be tested. In theory, normal ingredients also would work with Scoria, but it would open up the ability to add things that need two openings. That's the idea of Scoria. And I didn't get to that part, but then Sherbert succeeds and makes it, and that's what it is. Good, two ingredients with one bond. In theory, yes. And in theory, it would be more potent. And I'll tell you guys, as a little hint, that this would also allow for, let's say, a golden carrot and sugar to get added and have a 2-effect potion. Theoretically. Sherbert didn't get to that yet, but in theory, if things with one bond, either two of them can latch on, or two different things can latch on and cause hybrid potions. Yeah, I know. Crazy. Alright, okay, nether wart time. This page is going to be very red and very brown, but I'll allow it. I'll talk a little bit about this page while I'm doing it. I hold iDuo in my hands, brothers. Okay. Let's talk about netherwort for a second. So, netherwort is a mushroom. When you look at the item itself, if you look at it for long enough, hold up. I'm pulling up netherwort. If you were to look at the item itself, it just looks like a bunch of little balls, right? It just looks like a bunch of balls. I said what I said, it looks like balls. When you look at it growing, this is a good example of it. They're mushrooms. They're mushrooms with very thick stems. So the idea is that the stem isn't what you actually use. You grow netherwort and you grab the tops of the mushrooms off. And that's how you get the little clump of netherwort. And in Sherbert theory, TM, thank you, chat, you're very mature. Maturity test failed. Real. Okay. When you look at growing netherwort specifically, you can see how there's the stems and then the bulbs. And then you pick off the bulbs, and those are your netherwort that you put in potions. Now, the idea is the difference between soul sand and soul soil is soul sand has these big nutrient clumps. The little souls in them, TM, are little nutrient clumps that the roots wrap around, basically, where you get shorter guys with bigger dudes. Versus growing it in soil, you get really tall guys with smaller dudes because there's a different type of nutrients in it. That's the bit. Logistically in Minecraft, you can't actually grow netherwort on soul soil, but I don't care. I don't care. But that's... And you get more spores that are longer with dudes. And then versus the one where you get less of them per kind of block, but bigger, what's it called? bigger spores. What does the Invis potion taste like? Here, explain about the taste because I've had it so much, but what exactly does the taste look like? Anything with a fermented spider eye isn't gonna taste great. As a general rule of thumb, if there's a fermented spider eye, it's inherently going to taste rotten. Invis is one of the better ones because golden carrots are inherently sweet. But the two being put together can be like a sickly sweet taste. For example, as like a good rule of thumb-ish, I would say. The tastiest potion, I would say that speed is up there. I would say that speed is up there, because it is just straight sugar. Health potions taste like bad medicine. Like, you know when you have to, like, take medicine as a kid? It tastes a lot like that, which you'd think would taste better, but they don't really. Cough syrup. Yeah, that's the energy. Thank you. Don't mind me, chat, just making a rotten eye over here. But anything that has a fermented spider eye isn't gonna be great. But no, healing potions are not great, surprisingly. But like night vision potions taste great. It's just the fermented spider eye that make Invis so not it. What other like specific ones can I point out? Water breeding salty. Resistance is chalky. You have to think about a lot of the ingredient that's going in there. And with haste. Any of the ones made from flowers are pretty okay. Kind of tastes like tea. Back to this. Okay, let's talk about zombification. I'm actually gonna read what I have here while I grab my pen. Where's my normal pencil pouch? There it is. I'm gonna read you guys what I wrote for zombification because I know that past me had good words for it. Because zombification is weird to talk about. Specifically, how to cure it. That's kind of what this is. Alright. So weakness potions probably taste horrible? Yeah. But a lot of times weakness potions are thrown. You don't have to drink them often, which when you splash potions are way... They can smell sometimes, but yeah. So... Okay. I'm gonna kind of just read out this. Villagers and some mortals have been seen contracting a virus that decays and kills the host until they're revived as a zombie. The process of curing villagers has been perfected, but the infection spreads far enough into a mortal, it becomes irreversible. And then it says villagers, potion, and how villagers work in particular. When splashed with weakness potions, all the subject's cells are weakened and can either be extremely helpful or harmful for the virus. With the addition of the apple, the new uninfected tissue made from the existing tissue is regenerated, and its luck effect helps the weakness effect target the infected tissue only. About 5 minutes, the zombification is completely reversed. So, in layman's terms, what's happening molecularly is weakness, you chuck it onto zombie, okay? Throw a weakness potion. All of the cells get weakened. AKA, if you left it at that, it's gonna get way worse. It's gonna get faster, it's gonna fester more, it's gonna spread farther. But the golden apple, which I've talked about regeneration potions before, when you add regeneration potions, it takes tissue that you have, and basically finds other tissue that is good, unaffected tissue, and grows cells to connect it together and heal over wounds. So let's say if you have a cut, right? When you regenerate, the cells on both sides are going to basically magnet to each other and refill in over the wound. Absorption, which is a specific thing, throws and causes a bunch of new flesh to just grow. So if you're for example have like a cut, like let's say you had like part of like a part of some kind of cut. Absorption is going to immediately put that tissue back. The tissue isn't connected to you, but regeneration can go in there and get the absorption tissue and make it into healing, basically. So what zombification's doing is destroying that. So you weaken it, you chuck the gapple on there, which regenerates and adds absorption. So it immediately makes new unaffected flesh over the zombie flesh. Then the good flesh reaches over and starts repairing that. And slowly, in villagers, it fixes it. Once has been able to drop these can rebuild this stuff, make stuff whole. Yeah, that's a good example. That's a good example. Yeah, where it's reaching to each other and refills in wounds, which is what this diagram is doing, and what I'm going to outline a little bit. Where there is a cut here, and then it reaches over until it's fully covered over. And that's regen versus health, which is basically a painkiller. Health potions themselves. But that's zombification. In mortals, so humans, not necessarily villagers, because there's a weird line between villagers and like player characters. Weird line there. Can't explain that one really. In like mortals, cell makeup is a little bit different, and that's not enough. The virus spreads too fast, and the gapple and the weakness doesn't do enough. It can heal some of it, but not all of it. And that's a good example of what I'm trying to explain. All right, let's do this page. All right, now where's an actual specifically purple dude? You're kind of magenta. Not magenta, it's purple. You're the right color. The left eye on the right page and the right eye on the left. Because if I hold the book up to my face, like this, then they're in the right spot. Why did I write purple magenta? It is definitely purple, not magenta. It is definitely not magenta. Okay, next page. The corals! Yippee! Alright. Let's go through. So, on these pages, there's basically a spiel like, this is what fire coral is, this is what I thought it would do, it didn't. Maybe if I try some other stuff. And the theory is that these will now work on scoria potions, but Sherbert hasn't gotten a chance to test that yet. So the kind of the bit is with the corals is when I try to put it in the hot water, it dies and turns gray. There's no way for me to keep coral alive when you're moving it into a potion. And that was the problem. Now, yellow specifically talks about how this coral has a healing property for fish, and the idea that it was also going to work in a potion, but again, it dies before it can take any type of reaction. But you guys were talking a little bit about earlier about how I decide what the ingredients are going to do. And a lot of times, as I said, it's a reverse. You work your way backwards. So when I need... This is flint, so we're going to just make it gray. When I need, for example... I'm going to talk about the amethyst. Okay, I'm going to talk about amethyst, because this is a good one. Amethyst, we found, finally worked when we put the crystals in scoria. But what does the amethyst potion do? It's a potion of balance. Now, why did I get there? And I'll tell you why I got there. You know how the pretty noise that amethyst makes? You know the like really pretty sound it makes when you break it? And you know those like meditation humming bowls? That when you do a little thing around it, it like meditates the sound? It's a similar thing to that. And that's Tibetan singing bowls. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it's called. Thank you for knowing the actual name of it. That's why amethyst goes to balance. It puts you in tune with your surroundings. Alright, but now we get mushrooms, which we did test with Scoria and made potions, but don't work on their own. You know, these are the failed designs, chat, that I was talking about. The designs that Sherbert thought might work, but either ended up being either the same as a normal one, or also inefficient or didn't accomplish the goal. Or just weren't a good idea, so that they moved on. Looking at this one, I don't know what the thought process was there for sure, not gonna lie. I don't know how you thought that just putting them on top of each other was gonna solve the problem. Alright, now we're gonna skip some pages, chat, and get to the... specifically... the question page. Okay, I wanted to do this because it's the one thing that I haven't done, that I've been meaning to do. So, chat. This is a log of all of the questions that Sherbert asked the question wall. There is a retelling of these things on the wiki, which is what I'm about to use to fill them in. And the way that I'm gonna do this is by writing it. Welcome to the internet. Yes, I can. Alright, I will do that. So, this is normal soul redstone of yes, maybe, no. But the NSR is normal soul redstone. So the way that we're going to do it is we're going to keep our pens just like this. And we have the list of questions, which I have right here. I'm using those to do this really quickly. So, is your name Quixis? The answer was yes. Are you changing things? The answer was yes. Are you a god? The answer was at the time, can't say. Or don't know. Alright. Are you a god? That's the can't. Okay. Are you alive? Also don't know. We're gonna do that there. Are you in a different realm? Yes. Are you doing the resets? No. Do you know me? Yes. It was a big yes. We're gonna do it bigger than that. Did you write the weird book? No. Are you connected to Fable the god? No. Do you need help? Yes. Did you make the white aura? No. Are you in purgatory? No. Do I have a second parent? Yes. Are you my second parent? No. Do you know what's causing the resets? Said don't know, which also means no. Okay. Switching sides. Are you immortal? Are you amortal? Or are you mortal? No. Are you hostile? Don't know. Do you have control over what you change? No. Is there a reason you're changing things? Yes. Did you know my other parent? This was a weird one. The answer was don't know and no. That was a weird one. Are you affected by the resets? No. And is me asking things making me worse, and should I stop? Yes and yes. And that's that. That's your little recap on that book. Because you guys a lot of times will go theorize and say things that are just differently stated in this log. So I wanted to go over that. Alright, but